What's going on, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Playground Podcast. This is your host, Henry Rodriguez. Today we have 2 special guests on the show. I discovered them from a good friend of mine, Anthony Cordova. If you have been following the podcast and YouTube channel, you might be familiar with exactly who that is. Right away, I noticed the amazing talent and skills with filming and editing that these two possess. With well over 13,000 followers on Instagram, hundreds of amazing, well-crafted Instagram videos, and over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we welcome you, the owners and operators of Swerve TV.
Thank you for having us.
No, I want to thank you guys for being here. I know that with the short notice, sometimes it can be hard, and I know we pretty much planned it ahead of time. So
right, yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. Let's get a little bit of background about both of you guys.
Cool. Do you want to start?
No.
Okay, so I am from Guam, military parent, so I moved around a lot. Before wanting to get into becoming a doctor.
Okay.
So I actually went to college at Johns Hopkins University.
Where's that at?
It's in Baltimore.
Okay. Is that where you're from? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No. So I'm from Guam, but all over
okay.
the place. But then for college, I moved to Baltimore.
Okay.
And that's where I finished my undergrad. But during that time, in high school, I was pretty set that I wanted to be a doctor. But being at Johns Hopkins, they weed people out, and by like the way they do it is just by like hard exams, crazy schedules. And I realized very quickly that I didn't want to be a doctor.
Right. Okay.
And I think I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to reach like a certain amount of income. I wanted to be certain. Like I didn't want to just make the average income. I didn't want to be just an average person.
Right.
And I always associated, being a doctor as somebody who's like made it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was my goal. And then in college, I realized I didn't want to, be a doctor, and that's where I started, opening up to the business world. Okay. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So yeah.
Did your parents have any impact on like you wanting to be a doctor, or was that just you wanting to do it?
I mean, I think growing up in an Asian family, it's a very normal to, think about like being a doctor, lawyer,
right.
And so on. So I think so, but they were I wouldn't be here without them. And so they were very supportive with everything, all the decisions that I made and everywhere that I wanted to be. And so I think they made more of an impact for me being where I am now than,
Before?
Yeah, before, which is pushing me to become a doctor or anything.
So you said military, and I have a military background too,
yeah.
So that's where I wanted to jump in there. What branch were they in?
My dad is retired Air Force, and
Awesome.
He's currently contracted in the Army.
Solid, man.
Yeah,
my brother's in the Air Force.
Oh, cool.
That's really cool. I've met a couple people who actually were from Guam too, which is pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But other than that, what was, I guess, your childhood like in Guam? A little bit of context about.
It was a pretty normal childhood. Yeah. As in like
military. You were like the military kid, right? Is that?
Yeah. So my parents. So my mom remarried to my dad, who's in the military. My stepdad, who's in the military. So before that, I was just a normal civilian.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when my mom got married, that's when we moved to like Germany, Italy. And so
you
on.
got to see it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was your favorite country?
Definitely.
Besides Guam, you always got to rep the hometown.
Yeah, it's hard because in Italy I was in middle school in 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
And that was like Justin Bieber time.
Gotcha.
When, it was like long hair and so on, and I had the long hair and everything, so I was like killing it.
Beaving out.
Yeah, for the B-roll.
Awesome.
And so at that time I didn't really care. I was just, I don't know. I feel like I was probably the most like carefree at that time.
Okay.
And so that's why I associate it with Italy.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I don't really have favorite. I kind of just associate that like good feeling, that good time with Italy.
Towards Italy. We'll have to go there. That's awesome. So how did you two meet?
Mutual friends.
Gotcha.
And then we started dating, and then I started at that time I was doing virtual reality with another business partner, and then
we're gonna go into that. I hear that.
So I did virtual reality with another friend, and then at that time we were kind of transitioning away from virtual reality.
Okay.
And her Anthony's dance team wanted a dance video, and so I decided to do it. I had the equipment, and so we did it, and then it kind of just took off from there. Yeah,
that's amazing. And I've seen those videos, like all the videos so far. I'm mind blown.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
So let's. So between all of that, I guess, how did you get started? Or how did you guys get started with this? What
Swerve specifically?
Yeah, what came to you to start all this? Because I know Exiles, you did with Exiles, right? And then how did you want to continue to progress?
Oh, you mean okay, so at the time I was trying to, my friend and I, we weren't really into the dance community, so we knew a decent, a small amount about dancers and the dance community. And then when I was talking to her about the dance industry and dancing, she told me a lot about how dance competitions make a lot of money. And of course right there I was like, ding, let's go do one. So we at that time she had a competition, Anthony's team had a competition, and I was like, dude, this is the perfect opportunity. Yeah. Tell me everything about it. I studied it. It's like a whole week competition, so I was there every day just studying it.
Are you talking about the World of Dance?
HHI, so Hip Hop International.
And this was just last year, right?
Well, there's one every year.
Okay.
But
2 years ago.
So this one was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think I met Anthony, oh gosh.
Like a year and a half ago?
Probably like a year and a half ago. And then I know I think they placed first place on an HHI.
Exiles.
I could be wrong.
Exiles.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's I knew about him, and I think that's when I started.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's about the time.
That's awesome. So
yeah.
then you filmed that.
Well, no. So at that time, I was like, I need to learn everything about it. Let's let's get it. Let's make our own competition.
So we were what is it? FaceTiming each other, and he was just like, "What's going on? Like, who's there?" So I'm like, "Well, they have waters everywhere," because he just all of a sudden just wanted to start his own competition. He was like, "Oh, I can do it, easy."
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you're talking about a full
making a competition.
Oh no, yeah.
I thought you were trying to do your own team.
Oh no.
Oh man, you're going for
it.
Yeah,
okay,
he was like,
"Oh, that's so easy. I could just get a grand prize of money and then just make a competition." And I'm like,
"Oh
well,
man,
okay."
You're my type of guy.
Yeah, I'm like, I was like,
awesome.
It's not that easy, okay? So he was like, I'm gonna go every day to HHI and just study it. And so he had notes upon notes on writing and stuff. We never made one, but
well, okay, so
soon though, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's hope.
So anyways, she opened up the world for me about dance competitions in the dance industry. I think with a lot of art industries, there's that idea that you can't make any money. And then a lot of dancers themselves say you can't make a lot of money in dance. So I kind of didn't really think anything of it.
Right.
And then when she told me about HHI, they're a huge company. I mean, huge business with competitions.
Okay. Yeah, they did America's
best
best
dance crew, TV shows and everything.
Yeah.
So they're a big deal.
Oh, so they're the main, one of the top dogs.
One of the top dogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Specifically that owner. It's kind of anyways. So they were a pretty big deal. And when I found out about their whole just the whole business and how they run the business and how much money they make and so on, it just seemed like I could do it, you know what I mean? Of course, it's hard,
I love it.
But it seemed like it was possible to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we kind of tackled it, and we just decided to do this research period of just, okay, who would join our competition? How do you get people to join? How much money do they need?
Right.
How much money can you make?
Get started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at that time, there was also, I also wanted to get back into doing filming or taking pictures because I used to do fashion blogging before.
Okay. Was that during college or?
During college,
okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, I have the equipment, I might as well use it. And that's when her team was like, hey, why don't we make a video?
Cool.
So that's when we made the video.
So it all started with Exiles then.
Yes, that was our first video. Okay. Yeah.
The basketball one. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I probably have. I pretty much have watched almost all of them.
Yeah.
I tried watching more today too to get a refresher.
Oh, tight.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it started. And then by doing videos, more and more I realized that with the competition you need a following to get people to your competition.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's where I was like, okay, with Swerve, we can bring that up later on and make it. It's easier to do a competition when you have a following than starting off the bat.
I see.
So that's where we were like, okay, let's use this as our tool or our way
Social
to
media,
get into
right?
exactly.
Gotcha.
As our way to get into the dance industry and to start that competition.
That's incredible. So I guess based off of that, then, what were the things that you wish? How do I say this? So thinking back a couple of years ago, did you think you would get to this point in your life? From
this
like
point,
college, like you know how you were going to college,
mm-hmm.
and you didn't want to do that, but you wanted to, I guess, start a business.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think it was going to go into this direction?
When you say this direction, like the dance direction?
I get the dancing direction and your like filming because before it was just about being a doctor, but now again the arts, like you touched on that, like where people say, and I'm gonna bring myself into this real quick because back I guess years ago and even in middle school, like I love doing art. Like I was a graffiti artist for like 6-7 years.
Oh, that's tight.
So I know exactly how to do that. Even we'll talk about it later. Anyways, so going back to that, it's like for years of my life, people were telling me that you can't make a living, doing what you love, or you can't make a living, being an artist. And my whole thing, honestly, why I joined the military was obviously I needed the discipline and all the things I learned from it.
Right.
But it was also to become a well-rounded individual and to be able to get out and create a restaurant that had an art gallery in it. That's my whole thing. That's what I wanted to do. And then obviously as time changed, I wanted to, do what I'm doing now. But it's like, I was always told you can't do that. Like there's no money in art, like you have to get a real job. That was a big thing. Get a real job. But like in this modern day, what is a real job?
Right,
even the real jobs can fail you.
Yeah.
So like for me, it touches home, like especially when you said that, like there's no money in art, and I think that's completely false because I believe, not saying what you said is wrong, I'm with you, but in general when people say that, I don't know, it just makes me feel some type of way. I'm glad to be able to relate with you guys, knowing that you can do what you want to do. So I like that. So I get where you were finishing your story. Anything else on that?
Well, so I'm kind of like back and forth. I'm always, usually when it comes to this, I kind of just, Ryan will say something and later on I'll be like, dang, I missed this, or you know what I mean? I'm kind of just back and forth. But I think what started overall from myself wanting to get into business is reading Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes. Oh, we just talked about this on the last podcast. Okay.
And from there, that's when I knew that I wanted to get into business.
Gotcha.
But I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And that's when I got into fashion blogging, men's fashion blogging. And I focused on that. But then from there, with men's fashion blogging, it was fun. It was good.
Can you touch on that? What
okay, sure. So I got into the men's fashion industry specifically in like the suit arena. So I would always wear suits, take pictures, like the blogging, the whole deal.
Gotcha.
And that kind of took, so I saw an opening because there are not many Asian men in the industry at that time that were pretty big. And so at that time, it was a good and a bad thing. Good because I could brand myself, I'm an Asian dude. The bad thing is that Asian men weren't really a big thing to like follow yet. At that time, it was about diversity. So it was a lot of, African-American males and females blowing up in that industry. So I saw it as an opening, and that's when I kind of started, I always loved fashion. Yeah. So I just started wearing clothes, taking pictures and so on. And that kind of picked up. And with that idea of Rich Dad Poor Dad, I figured, I could make a lot of money with this. I just have to put in a lot of time.
Absolutely, yeah.
The problem with that was it was just a lot of money spent, not a lot of money coming in. Right. And when the money did come in, it was, reinvested. Yeah. And at least I thought it was reinvested, but it's really just, it's all going down the drain because nothing is coming to me. Even at the end of the day, I'm going to continue buying clothes, continue just trying to keep up with the new fashion trends and so on. Not saying that you can't make money in that industry.
I want to jump in there real quick because that's what I do. That's actually one of the many things I do. And I don't know if you follow my stories or follow my Instagram, but one of the things I do is I flip Supreme. So I'll buy Supreme, I'll flip it. So, and tomorrow there's going to be another drop that I'm excited for. But anyways, so it's I'm flipping Supreme. I'm also flipping some of the things you guys walked in. If you saw the counter, I buy stuff at thrift stores and resell it. So I'm pretty much, and buy makeup palettes and resell them. So like I'm a hustler in every which way, you know? So like for me, like with fashion, like I'm starting to really dive into that industry, like Off-White and like Louis Vuitton. Like I have to keep up with the trends, even though some of the things that I'm seeing, not to offend anyone, but some of the things that I'm seeing, I'm like, why would you wear that? You know, like some crazy thing. But then I'm like, I got to take a step back and realize like, I can't be the one to judge other people and their fashion because it truly is an art. I think fashion's really an art. So I guess to bring this back around is like, I love making money too in like every which way, but it's not necessarily about the money to me. It's about like creating something from nothing, you know? So that's what, I don't know, I feel like I wanted to share that with you, but it's amazing. Just any industry you can get into, you really, if you just put the time into it, you can make it happen. So
Definitely, yeah.
that's amazing. Growing up, like, you know, in Guam, did that influence any of your decisions that you made or making today? Or did growing up there, you know, lead you to want to become a doctor? Because I know you had said that you wanted to go to the top, and the doctor is pretty much
I think just being in Guam, it's very limited. It's a really small island. You can drive around the whole island in like 3 hours. Yeah. So it's pretty limited in terms of like what you can do, you know, or I don't know. I wouldn't say education is behind, but I would say that like it's hard to get into colleges from there because it's Guam, you know, and you're competing against people that are from California, you know, Arizona, where their schools are more known.
Right.
So it was a lot. It's just limited overall, and so from moving from there to Italy to Germany, California, and then Baltimore, kind of opened my eyes and showed me that there's like a lot more to the world than, you know, Guam.
Right.
But I mean, I love Guam. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right,
but
right.
I think if anything, being from Guam motivated me when I moved here to realize that there's more opportunity. Yeah, probably. More opportunity. Yeah.
That's amazing. So with that being said, then you guys both met at, or not met, but you started this whole, the Swerve TV, because I don't know if I introduced it, but you guys started Swerve TV together? Is that how?
Pretty much, yeah.
Started?
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys both do the filming and editing and everything?
I do the filming and the editing. She does the photography.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the quality is amazing.
Thank you.
I look at it, I'm like, wow. I know I use the Rode mic, the Go, I believe, but you guys, which one do you guys use?
For audio?
Yeah.
Or what? We have the new Rode mic.
Okay.
But we also use labs. We don't really use.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You guys don't really use audio.
We don't. For weddings we do, and we use labs.
Okay.
Labs. But for dance we don't really.
I saw the video that you did, and I'll put that in the, I guess, description box below. The one you did for when Anthony proposed to Stephanie.
Yes, yeah.
That was incredible.
Thank you.
That just was so heartfelt. I know she liked that video too.
I was like, I need to meet them.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was lab.
That's
on Anthony. Yeah.
I loved it, man. So with that being said, what are the goals you guys are trying to reach this year? What are some of your...
There's a lot. I think I'm all over the place with that.
I got you, man.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
But I think right now...
He's just...
Yeah. Awesome. I have no idea what the big plans are. It changes like every week. Yeah. But I think right now it's just growth. Like growth for Swerve TV, growth for Wild Story Films, which is our wedding side.
Gotcha.
And
we need to follow that because she's got a photography page too.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I do follow you guys. I'll have to check.
Oh, cool. Sweet, yeah. I just growing that. It's working with or like growing in terms of social media presence, collaborating, but really working on projects that are worth it.
Right.
When I say that, it's what we've realized is a lot of the projects that we do, they have a short-term gain, but doesn't really make sense long-term gain. And so what we're trying to do is focus more on like the long-term projects. So looking at each project and saying, okay, will this help us out? Let's say that, you know, we're 10 years down the road and we're still doing this. Does this make sense?
Right.
Like, will we look back and say that was a good decision, or was it like not a waste of time, but we could have used that time better.
Using time, because time is one of the, or if not the most important asset.
Right.
But also, what are some things you can help, I guess, my audience and even your audience, if they end up watching, like what are some things they can take away from growing your social media or even just following a passion or a dream? What are some like tips that you can give them?
I think for growing a following, take it with a grain of salt, because it's not like we have the total end all be all for it. But I think just good content, and only post good content. So even if you're working every day, not everything you work on is good content. And if it's not good content, don't post it, because you only really get a first impression once.
Right.
And if the person so happens to see that bad content, then all your amazing content is a waste.
Right.
So we're pretty picky about what we post.
Got it.
And when
I have
we post.
noticed, sorry man, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
I did notice you started kind of doing like the thumbnail things. And that's one thing that, I don't know, I've been doing too lately. And honestly, I like it. So I did notice that.
Thank you.
And I noticed that it did bring this whole different, how do I say it? It made your social media presence a little bit sharper than just having a normal thing posted. So I want to let you know that too.
Thank you. Yeah, the reason why we do that, okay, so a big thing that we're seeing is competition, and a big thing that's pushing us right now is competition.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is create, I guess not really innovate, but just be different. Yeah. And we found that was a good way to be different, and that's going to change probably within a month. Because then, competition.
I'm seeing so many people do it now. Too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
like it starts to build to where like we're at the same level as other people, so we're like, okay, what's the next step? So we have to keep moving on, and then everybody's at that level.
Yeah.
Okay, now we gotta think of something else.
Right.
So it just keeps changing.
Honestly, again, I don't mean to bring it back to just me, but I'm the same way. It's like I feel like I'm competing with myself really at the end of the day with like what I'm doing and just trying to constantly be better. I'm sure you guys are the same way, just being better. But what I have noticed is like, where can I improve? And all day long, I'm like, what's the next thing that I can do? What's the next thing that I can do? And sometimes it's hard because you get so like mentally stressed out.
Yeah.
But what I've learned to do is just like kind of go with the flow, but also still learn, because it's important to still learn. But again, that was one thing I saw from you guys is like, it's looking different.
Thank
and
you.
I like it really, because it's different.
Thank you.
But then again, it's like I'm excited to see where you go from here, because it's like if it's just getting that better and that, so it's incredible, man.
Yeah, that's a big thing that, again, bringing it back, I think that's the big thing that we're just focusing on, and that's the difference is that I guess you've seen is that we're just focusing on what. Okay, so the big thing that changed, honestly, is that we started working with Sophia Wiley, who was a Disney Channel star. And that was a big deal for us because she has over 1 million followers. And from working with her, what we learned was that because we've done videos for her, Disney and Marvel started looking at our stuff.
That's incredible.
And that kind of opened my eyes, because at that time I guess I was thinking small. I was like,
but
Arizona community.
Sometimes we do think small.
Yeah. So I was thinking small, and I was like, Arizona community's looking at it. So I didn't really think too much about social media. It was just like, hey, I just need to post.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, they were just looking at her stuff, it made me realize it's like, okay, it's not just Arizona looking at it. It's big people looking at it too. And we don't know who, but there's a chance that, Elon Musk can see it.
Yeah.
And is the stuff...
The GOAT.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And if he does see it, is this stuff the type of stuff that we want him to see?
Right. And that goes back to the presence of your content.
Right.
Quality.
And so from there, we were like, okay, we need to start thinking, nationwide. We need to start thinking Disney level.
Gotcha.
Like we only post the best of our work that the Disney people would want to hire us for.
Gotcha.
And all the other stuff, it's it's not saying that some dancers are better than the others and some videos are better than the others. It's just more of how we filmed it.
Gotcha.
And if this is how we want them to see us, then let's post it. If we don't, then don't even think about it. You know what I mean?
That's incredible.
So it's the same thing. It's the same thing for anybody. I think if you're in the wedding industry, the photography industry, if you have bad photos but you need something to post, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Sometimes like that fill-in content that I was at fault for too, and again, it's like there are times where I'm like, I want to post this, but I rethink and just reevaluate, like you said, like, is it worth it? Like, I remember there was a time in my life too, This was just a couple years ago after I got out of the military, and it was just all about content. Like, how much content can I push out? And like, if you look at older videos of me, it's like that really wasn't me. You know, like I was this character that I wasn't. I was being as authentic as I could, but at the end of the day, things for views, for subscribers, like more followers, like what can you do? And I remember blowing up from, I think it was like 800 followers on Instagram to 1,400, and just like almost less than, I would say, like a year. Nice. And it was from like just taking a step back and just being authentic and just putting out good quality stuff that, like some of my videos are sketchy, like how I just put them together. But again, it's like, just like you said, put out quality and people will follow just off of quality alone. Right. People are going to follow. So I think that's very important. So I want to jump to this next question because I think it really turns with this. What motivates you every day to keep doing what you guys do? I think, who inspired you, or was it just? I think it's just
it was part necessity. I mean, we both, this is our full-time job. That's incredible. So we have to keep it up. We make money, so you have to do it. I got you. I think another big thing is competition. Because there was a little bit last year where we kind of were the only ones filming. In the dance industry at that time. Well, okay, I would say, filming, but in a business manner, instead of just like as a hobby. And
because it's different. Sorry, I mean, it's different when you're posting because it's like a business, but it's different also if you're just like Joe on the side of the road just posting a video of something like you put a lot of thought behind it.
Right, exactly, and so at that there was a point in the 2-year span where we kind of got comfortable and didn't really think of improving. People were paying us, we were putting out work, it worked out, let's keep it this way, just keeping the same thing over and over again. And then what happens pretty much in every industry is that you'll get these times where you'll have ups and downs, and at that time we were in an up. And everybody was like, SwerveTV, and it worked out really well. And then we hit it down when, and usually when either competition starts getting better or, new competition comes in. And that's when we usually find ourselves like trying to improve and innovate and so on. Those are the best periods.
Why do you think it's like that though? Like when you're at the lowest of the low, and that's when you're trying to improve, but when you're on the top, I know we're all we'll still try and improve at the top. But why is it like when it's like dog eat dog, when you're at the bottom, why do you think it's, easier for someone to expand and try and become better? Is it because that, they're at the bottom and they just want to make it back up to the top? Or do they just get a little bit complacent? What do you
I think it depends on somebody's mindset and personality.
Gotcha.
I think there are a lot of people where they hit it down and it's down for good. Not for good, but they're down.
Right.
And there are some people that have built their mindset, or at least naturally have a mindset where when they're at a down, it's more of a motivation pickup.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying that I've built my mindset or anything, but I think for me and for her as well, when we are at a down and there's more competition, it's one of those things where it's like we can do this. Like
stick it out.
We can keep going. What they're doing is something that we can learn to do, and if it's hard, we'll struggle through it and we'll make it through. But for some people, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's just some people, it's their mindset is maybe it's not my time,
right?
Or something, or a wave will come up and I'll wait for that wave, And I wouldn't say there's anything wrong if becoming successful isn't their goal,
right?
But for us, it's again necessity. We have to keep it up. And the only way to keep it up is
we don't have jobs.
Well, we don't have jobs, and we chose that. And the only way to keep it up is if we keep pushing.
And you know what? That's amazing the way you put it. And I was talking to my friend Brandon about this the other day. I told him, like, it would be a lot different if I actually stopped doing the things I didn't care about and really started working on the things that I do. But also not saying that, like, I shouldn't, do this because, I don't care about it. I still think it's important to do certain things in your life that even though you might hate them, you should still do them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to be able to grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like within reason. But that's I guess what I'm trying to bring it back to is like, you know, it's important. I love hearing your guys' story because of the fact that you are doing what you love, and it just goes to show it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that gives a lot of people hope.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank you guys, especially, you know, for opening up and even coming to the podcast. But I do appreciate that. So so is that what really inspired you? Is just, I guess, building a successful career to be able to, you know, leverage on your own and do it yourself?
I don't know, what would you say for that?
It's your business.
I think, okay, it's kind of hard.
For him, I think he just really loves business. So like, and like a lot of things inspire him.
awesome.
Like he just gets inspired by so many random things. Like Steve Jobs. He was just talking about Steve Jobs recently, and with him, I feel like he doesn't really care what business it is as long as he's like doing something and like he's building something.
Gosh.
Like, cause I know
Sounds
he's
just like
like,
Yeah.
cause like with Swerve, like he doesn't just have Swerve. He also has Wild Story and like a bunch of other things that he's like creating all the time off the top of his head. And I'm pretty sure Swerve won't be where it is right now in like 2 weeks. It'll probably be something different, right?
Yeah.
Because he like does business work too. He's done like everything, and I think it's just because he has fun like creating things and like putting stuff out there and showing that he can do it too. So I think just he has like a prideful kind of thing as well. Not in a bad way. But just like he just likes to do things. It's so weird. Him and his brother. His brother's the same way.
Cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that inspire him. So it's kind of hard. Like it's really hard for him to stay at one thing because he's just like all over the place.
Even for me, like I talked about in the last podcast, like the other night I was up till like 4 a.m. and like ideas were just still going through my head. Like, what's the next thing I can do? What's the, you know, and then I start thinking about one idea and then I start thinking about another idea on top of that idea. And it's like, I don't know, sometimes I get so caught up in the mix, but that's incredible.
Thank you.
Just knowing that you're going to go pretty far. Cause I'm the same way. I'm like, what's the next thing? Like I'm researching to like SpaceX and like Blue Origin.
Right,
so like
right,
I'm doing all this like inside work. I'm like, man, like only if I can just clone myself and just be in all these different industries. It would just be so cool to know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna piggyback off that because I was reading your questions, and one thing that got me, I think, with Swerve and what a lot of people think that with business is that it has to be a passion. I think I love dance, but I never thought that I would be filming dance.
Gotcha.
I've always wanted to be a dancer, but I never really did it, and so film was kind of my way of getting into the industry. But when people say, "Oh, it must be so much fun, you know, doing your passion," I think for me, I never really feel like dance is my passion.
Gotcha.
I think with a lot of business people, and I think I'm lucky to have this situation, is that there was one thing that you tried out of the million things. You know what I mean? We try so many different things, and I think the one thing that did work was dance, filming. And so it kind of just it was just an opportunity that opened, and I just took it. And I think before that, though, my idea was that, you know, you go with your passion, you work hard on it, and then the passion is going to make the money. But I think it's more of you push toward your passion, but then opportunity comes, and it may not be your passion, but then you make it your passion. And I think, okay, so the way I kind of see it is, and though I think what is stopping a lot of people in business is that they see this scenario differently. So there are people, I was talking to her about, I'm excited, but I'm horrible at explaining it. But you know, you ever get it when you're in traffic and you're trying to get into an exit, but the exit is like super backed up? Yeah. Okay. And you're too late to get into the exit lane. So you have to kind of push your way in. Yeah. And the way I see it, and the way I explain this is, there are times where there's an opening, you know, like there's an opening to go in. Right. And the only two choices are to take it or not. And it's not only one. Sometimes there's multiple openings. Sometimes there's only one. But usually when it's a super long line, there's like, oh, there's an opening. Oh, I didn't take it. Should I take this one? No. should take them.
Second guessing. Almost.
Yeah, second guessing. But the thing is, there are opportunities always to get into that lane. It's just that there are people that they're too scared to get into it, even though there was an opportunity there.
Yeah.
And
or
there
they
maybe
take it because they're too afraid that there won't be one.
Exactly. So it's almost like I don't know if it's a luck game, but it's like, okay, let's say there's 3 openings. The person doesn't take it. That person just didn't take the opportunities, and
has to turn left.
Has to
do the whole U-turn.
Yeah, but that person didn't take the opportunity, and then complains that the business is not for me, right? But there were opportunities there, and then there's some people that just take the first opportunity, and then they make the exit lane, but they took it. And there are other people that, like, see an opportunity and don't take it, and then they finally take it. Either way, the 2 people that took the opportunities are getting to the exit, right? And I think of the same thing as like the exit is the successful path, right?
Gotcha.
So you just have to find the opportunity, find the open car, and take it. And that will lead you to success, right? You just have to take it and follow it. But sometimes, if you're the person that took the first opportunity, it may take you a lot longer to get to the success.
Right.
But it's going to lead that way. And then there's some people that see opportunities and so happen to take the third, find an opening near the exit, and that brings them closer, but they still get to the success, right? Okay. And so I think for us, I don't know what opportunity I took. If it was the first opportunity and it's going to...
it'll take you some time to get to where you
Exactly. Or if it's one that, give me another week and I'll be freaking... rich, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but either way, awesome. We took the opportunity, and it's going to lead us to that success. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the way I kind of see it. It's not that I love film. It's not that I love dance. Like, okay, I do, but it's not like that's what I see myself in the future.
Right.
It's just an opportunity came, and we took it. So yeah, and I think it's the same for you. Like, an opportunity for the podcast came, and you took it.
Yeah.
And it could take you 20 years to get 10,000 followers.
I'm willing to
right?
keep going. Yeah.
Or it could take you 1 week, and then all of a sudden one of your podcasts blows up.
Yeah.
We don't know, but you took it.
Right.
So I think the moral of that story is that, it doesn't really matter it does matter what your passion is, but it's like, look around and see the opportunities and just take one, and if it so happens to be one that leads you to success, like, quickly, you're lucky, not lucky, but you found the opportunity, you took it.
You're fortunate.
And if it takes forever, just know that, it'll eventually get you to that exit in that successful place. You just have to stick with it.
Yeah, that's very true, actually, because when we started with Exiles, the recording, he was like, okay, we're going to go to studios and we're going to talk to the choreographers, we're going to ask if they need filming and all this stuff. And me, I'm more of like an introverted type of person. So I was like, no, you don't do that. Like, that's so weird. Like, no one's ever done that. And then, so here we go. We're going to studios. And everybody's like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Like, let's have a weekly thing. Like, you just come over here, we'll pay you, and you record our classes. And I was just like, I was mind blown because nobody does that. Like, well, nobody was doing that at the time.
You saw the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he saw the opportunity and took it. And he was always hitting up people, and I just thought it was so weird just for me because, like, I would never do that.
Right.
And then so, like, that just, like, blew my mind. And then after that, he was just started taking off. Like, he just started filming so many different classes, got into so many other different studios, and then started doing business all of a sudden. It was just, like, it went crazy. It just went crazy. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he took the opportunity.
Yeah. Good, man. And to those people who might, be scared of taking the opportunity or going into that lane, like you were saying, again, what would be a couple of things maybe you can tell them? Like, don't hesitate, or if you see an opportunity, just take it, or, like, think about it. What are a couple of things you could say?
Well, I think you're talking about the people that just people driving.
Yeah, the people. Yeah. To bring it into that story, like, just the people driving, and they're just like, I really want to, I want to move over, but I don't think it's a good idea. The people who are just being really soft about trying to chase their dreams or go after the thing that they want to do. It doesn't even necessarily have to be business. It could be they want to be an artist or a cook. What are some things you can, tell them to do? Whether it's like get off your ass or manage your time a little bit better. Like, what are some things you can tell the audience?
It's not really related to that story. I think that story is focused on just taking the opportunity.
Gotcha.
I think what advice I would give that my mentor, Mark Hoverson, what he gave me that made sense was, and I'm going to butcher it, but good is good enough. Or it's better to have one good thing than 0 great things, right? And I think, and that was kind of our theory or our mindset when we first got into filmmaking was, I'm going to make 100 videos and have them be okay and hope that they get somewhere. But I would rather have 100 okay videos than one perfect video. And so, like she said, I was just hitting everybody up saying, like, hey, let's do a video. And I guess the moral is just do it, right?
Right.
And so we were just doing it. We were just getting into it. I didn't know if I was going to make money from dance. I didn't know if filming would be, was the opportunity. Yeah. But I just did it, and I just kept doing it until an opportunity came, right? And so it's just kind of like, you just have to do it. And if you just keep getting stuff out, it's better to just get it out and do it rather than perfect it. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to do my first podcast until it's the best person.
Yeah. And even me, man, like I'm still learning. I still mess up, but it's just all human.
Right.
Human. And like, that's the thing. Like, I'm just doing my best with what I have and what I know, and I'm just trying to grow. But again, it's like, that's where I came down to, sitting down with myself, and I was like, how can I, like, what do I want to do? So I drew this whole, I remember I had this big old whiteboard. I drew everything out. I'm like, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to go, and then like, what are the steps that I need to take now? And it was like, I'm thinking about every single day. Weeks are going by. I'm like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Getting different color markers, and it's like, at the end of the day, it was just one thing I should have done was just start. Really just start. I was so scared to pick up the camera and start, doing our vlogs and videos that I filmed and doing my workout videos. But it's just like, at the end of the day, it was like, I wanted to be so perfect, and I get it. It's good to have good quality, but it's also great to get started. So I think that's where people sometimes fall short, is like, getting started is the first, I guess, breaking point of anything. You gotta just get out there, whatever it is you want to do. So I think your story is incredible.
Thank you. I think with starting is, if you do it and you do it enough, people will tell you if you should not do it. Right. People won't tell you,
I understand,
but the direction, I mean, the world will tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that people don't. The people. Okay, when I say people, it includes myself.
Yeah.
But what we all think is that if we start and it goes wrong, then our whole reputation is ruined.
Right.
Everything that we've worked on, everything about us, it's gone. Like, I won't have confidence anymore. Like, people will laugh at me, right? But I think at least in the business world, is that people support failure more than they support success.
Yes.
I think.
Dude, I believe that too.
Yeah, and so if you come to somebody who's super rich and is willing to invest money, just needs the right opportunity, and you say, yes, I have this, and I've failed 0 times, they're not going to invest in you. They're going to invest in the person that says, I've tried this, it failed a bunch of times, but this is my new one.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, well, he's been up and down, and if I stick with him and I invest in him, even in the down, he's going to keep going.
Gotcha.
Whereas the person that hasn't started and has 0 failures, he hasn't went down, so nobody's going to trust him.
Right.
Him or her.
Yeah. Right.
So it's one of those things. Just like, it's starting, but it's also like, just start and keep doing it until the market tells you it's not worth it.
Right. There it is.
You know what I mean?
That's key, man. I like that. And that's the thing too, where I've learned about like just business in general. Like I have my own clothing company. Like I did that whole social media influencer thing, and my a little bit of background, if you don't know about me. So I was in the military and I competed in 2 bodybuilding shows. If you can believe it, I was like 40 pounds probably lighter than I am now.
Yeah.
But I took first place in both my shows that I competed in. I saw the world in a completely different way. Each time I was on the stage, I was like, there was just something like, I guess it was like more of an addictive quality, where I'm like on the stage and you just feel so good Like those 16, 18 weeks of dieting and intense training led to that 10 to 15 seconds on the stage where I was just like in this limelight, where it's like you see in the movies, like the people in the audience and the lights going, and it look a little bit dark, like it looks dark though, but it's still light. And like being up there, it taught me a lot about myself. It taught me about mental breakthroughs where you physically can push yourself through anything as long as you're mentally prepared, you know? And for me, it was like, I wanted to do bodybuilding so bad. And I just, there was something in the world telling me that's not for you. You know, bodybuilding, it gave me a platform for sure to start, you know, my YouTube channel, to start a clothing company. So it was a platform, but it wasn't me, and it wasn't the direction I wanted my life to go, because every time I tried pushing myself, the world would hold me back. You know, I had surgery twice because of it. And it was just like every time I was trying to keep, you know, progressing or to hit that next level in bodybuilding, something would happen and it would bring me, you know, 2 steps back. And I would try and keep going and fight the world, and it would bring me 2 steps back. So it's like, I've learned what you're talking about is sometimes the thing that you want to do, you know, just gets twirled into this whole like tornado of things until you realize, you know, there's that one thing you should follow and the thing that would make you great. So for me, it's the same concept, man. Like I found what I love doing, and I'm just sticking with it. Like through, like, sometimes, you know, I'll buy equipment and stuff like that, and it gets expensive, but it's like, I understand at the end of the day that you have to like really invest in yourself. You have to believe in that idea that you have. Because without the idea, I mean, none of this would even be possible.
Right, absolutely.
Where can, you know, my followers and the audience follow you guys or find you guys?
I think on Instagram, it's just SwerveTV Dance.
Awesome.
For SwerveTV specifically, and then on YouTube, it's just SwerveTV.
Awesome. And I'll put everything down below so that they can check you guys out.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I want to thank you guys again for being on and giving us all the insight about what you guys are doing and what you're creating. I think it's amazing, really, to see people, you know, I guess like-minded, you know, going for what they believe in. So
thank you.
I want to thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. So
thank you for having us.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I want to thank you so much. If you're listening on SoundCloud, I want to thank you. Also, if you're listening on Spotify, thank you so much. We're getting on Apple, I swear. I keep saying that in every single episode. But again, guys, thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video.